Hello, good day viewers. Today we are going to start working on NECO 2024 objective questions. Question number 1 reads, express 384.126 to the nearest hundred. This is simply saying we should round this number up or down to the nearest hundred. As simple as that. So the first thing we need to do here is to locate hundred place. This is the unit, the tens, the hundred. So this is the hundred place. Then you look at the next digit. Once it is up to 5 or greater than 5, then you should round the number up. But once it is less than that, you round it down. All right, but since 8 is a number greater or equal to 5, we are going to round this to 400. Therefore, the solution to this problem is just 400. And remember, we are dealing with objective questions. Just look through the options A to D and tick the options that reads 400. As simple as that. Let us move on to question number 2. Question number 2 is under set theorem. We are given a set A which contains natural numbers between 3 and 15. When they say between 3 and 15, do not include 3 and 15, just numbers in between them. So let us list them. A contains elements 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you stop. What does this mean? It means what? We should find the cardinality of that set, number of elements in that set. So n of A, meaning we should count the number of elements we have. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. As simple as that. So the cardinality of this set is 11. And we are good to go. Just look through the options and tick option that reads 11. Question number 3. We asked to evaluate 3,241 in base 5 minus 1,342 in base 5. So let's do that. If you have a calculator that contains number base system, you can just simply plug this into the calculator and evaluate. But since we don't have one, let me show you how to do that. We have 3, 2, 4, 1 minus 1, 3, 4, 2. Remember, all these numbers are in verse 5. Okay, you start from the right hand side. 1 minus 2 is not possible. Then you take 1 from here. Remember, we have 4 bundles here. Once you take 1 from there, you'll be left with 3 bundles. You bring 1 here, 1 bundle here, but that bundle you borrowed is equivalent to 5. So you are borrowing 5 here. So 5 plus 1 will give us 6. Then 6 minus 2 is 4. All right, coming back here. Remember, we have 3 bundles left. 3 minus 4 is not possible. You borrow 1 bundle here. Once you borrow 1 bundle here, you'll be left with 1 bundle here. What you are borrowing, remember, is equivalent to the base, which is 5. Join this 5 and 3, you have 8. Then 8 minus 4 is 4. Move to the next. 1 minus 3 is not possible. Borrow 1 bundle here, you'll be left with 2 bundles. As it comes here, it comes as 5. 5 plus 1 is 6, and 6 minus 3 is 3. And lastly, we have 2 minus 1, which is 1. So we have 1,344 in base 5. As simple as that. Moving on, question number 4. We asked to simplify this. These are factors that we need to multiply, but just observe they only have difference of sign, plus and minus, which means that we have what? Difference of 2 squares. If you have a minus b multiplied by a plus b, this is the same thing as a squared minus b squared, as simple as that. So this is a and this is b, all right? So to simplify that, we are going to say 4 root 3 whole squared minus 6 squared. 4 squared is 16 multiplied by square root of 3 squared is 3, then minus 6 squared is 36. We have 16 times 3, which is equal to 48 minus 36. And this is equal to 12. As simple as that. So once you evaluate this or you simplify this, you're going to get 12 exactly. Then the last question for today is under geometric progression sequence. The third term of geometric progression is -5, and the seventh term is -80. We're asked to find the common ratio. I'm going to show you two different ways to do that. The first method will be based on theory questions, if this is a theory question. But the second one will be based on objective questions. Remember, you are dealing with objective questions. Or should we start with objective questions? Okay. Let's do that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because we have 7 times, right? They say that the third one is -5 and the seventh one is -80. We would like to find the common ratio, remember. So let's assume that this is x, this is y, this is z. I'm going to take this as reference. If suppose you are given x, to find common ratio is simply as taking x divided by -5. But we are not given that. But let's assume we are given y as a value. To find the common ratio, it is the same thing as square root of y divided by -5. This is just an assumption. Suppose we are given these values. And if you are given the third one from the first one, common ratio will be the cube root of that number z divided by the first one, which is -5. And we are not given that as well. But since we are given the fourth one from the first one, the common ratio will be the fourth root of -80 divided by -5. So this is the only value we have here. And you know that -80 divided by -5 is 16. So r will be equal to plus or minus fourth root of 16. And r, which is our common ratio, will be plus or minus 2. So this is just the solution to this problem. But in case of theory questions, let me show you how to find the common ratio. Remember that every single term, which we call Tn, is equal to ar to the power of n minus 1. So since term number 3 is given, it will be what? Ar raised to the power of n, which is 3, minus 1 is 2. So ar squared will be what? -5 according to the question. And we also given term number 7 to be ar to the power of 7 minus 1, which is 6, right? And they say it is what? -80. So we have two equations here. Let's divide. We have ar to the 6th divided by ar to the 2nd. This is equal to -80 divided by -5. From the left hand side, a will cancel a. And according to one of the laws of indices here, you take one base, which is r. 6 minus 2 is 4, equals -80 divided by -5. That will give us 16 exactly. Then you take the fourth root of both sides. You have r equal to plus or minus the fourth root of 16, and the fourth root of 16 is 2, and hence r is equal to plus or minus 2. You see the same answer. And here is question number 6, which reads, a man with an annual salary of 1,300,000 naira is to pay an income tax of 22%. Calculate his tax if his allowance amounts to 137,000 naira. All right. Remember that allowances are not taxable, so we have to subtract them from the annual salary. So we say that the taxable income is equal to the annual salary minus the allowances. This will be equal to 1.3 million minus 137,000, and this is equal to 1 million 163,000. So this is what is taxable. So to find the tax paid, tax will be equal to 22% according to the question of this amount 1163000. This will be 22 divided by 100 multiplied by 1.163. So just use your calculator, divide 22 by 100, whatever you get you multiply by this, and that will give us 255,860 naira. So this is what he's going to pay as tax. Now let us move on to question number 7. Question number 7 reads, a wire of length 25 centimeter was measured by a student to be 24.4, meaning this is the actual length of the wire, but the student mistakenly measured it as 24.4, meaning it has reduced. We asked to find the percentage error. So remember that percentage error is equal to the absolute measure, divide by the actual measure, multiplied by 100%. So what is absolute measure is just the difference between the two measurements. We have 25 minus 24.4, then divide by the actual measure, which is 25, then you multiply by 100%. So 25 minus 24.4 will give us 0.6 divided by 25 multiplied by 100%. So you can take your calculator, divide this number, whatever you get you multiply by 100. So once you divide this, you're going to get 0.024, then you multiply by 100. That will give us 2.4%. So this is the percentage error. Remember, this is an objective question, but suppose it is theory question, you have to make a conclusion that we have what, 2.4% decrease. This is decrease because remember that the actual measure is 25, which is more than the wrong estimate, 24.4. Let us move on to question number 8. Question number 8 reads, how many years will 12,000 naira saved in a bank amount to 12,960 at 2% per annum simple interest? Okay, remember that simple interest is equal to the principal amount multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time. But the amount is equal to the principal amount plus the interest. So since we are looking for the number of years t here, right, I think we can make I here the subject, then we plug it here to the left of this equation. So from here you can see that I is equal to A minus P. So we can simply take this and plug it here. Remember, you are dealing with objective questions, so it is not necessary that you have to show all workings. So instead of this I, we are going to replace it with A minus P. So A minus P is equal to principal times rate times time. And finally, since we are looking for T, we divide both sides by PR. Therefore, T is equal to A minus P divided by PR. So let us plug everything. The time we are looking for is equal to the amount, which is 12,960. That is the amount according to the question. 12,960 minus the principal amount. The principal amount is 12,000, so we have 12,000 right here. Divide by the principal amount again, which is 12,000. Multiply by the rate. What is the rate? According to the question is what? 2%. And what is 2%? 0.02. 0.02. This is equal to the top 12,960 minus 12,000 will be 960. Divide by what will be 12,000 times 0.02. That is 240. And once you divide, you're going to get 4 exactly. So 4 years. So after 4 years. And that's just the solution to this problem. Now let us move on to question number 9. Question number 9, we are asked to rationalize this. What does this mean? It means that we should make the denominator to be a rational number, because root 2 plus root 3 is irrational. So how can we make it rational? By multiplying the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. The conjugate of the bottom will be root 2 minus root 3. Just a difference of sign, because this is plus, we have to use minus. So we say that 5 divided by root 2 plus root 5, okay, root 3, sorry. You multiply the top by root 2 minus root 3. You do the same thing to the bottom, root 2 minus root 3. You see that this is exactly equal to 1. So multiplying whatever by 1 will not change it. Okay? So this is equal to, you take 5, you multiply by this. That will give us 5 root 2 minus 5 multiplied by root 3 will be 5 root 3, right? And the bottom will be just a difference of 2 squares. We are multiplying these two terms, and they only have a difference of sign. Therefore, we say it is difference of 2 squares. So remember, if you have a minus b multiplied by a plus b, this is equal to a squared minus b squared, difference of 2 squares. So we're going to apply the same principle here. We have root 2 squared minus root 3 also squared. This is equal to 5 root 2 minus 5 root 3 divided by root 2 squared is 2 minus root 3 squared is 3. This is equal to 5 root 2 minus 5 root 3 divided by negative 1. And this negative 1 will affect these two times. So it will be negative 5 root 2 minus and minus will be plus, right? We have plus 5 root 3. And we can switch them as what? 5 root 3 minus 5 root 2. If you like, you can factor out the 5 because we have a common factor of 5, but it's not necessary. But let me just do that. It will be equal to 5 multiplied by root 3 minus root 2, all the same. So this is the simplified version or the rationalized version of 5 divided by root 2 plus root 3. Now let us move on to question number 10. All right, here is question number 10, which reads, in a class of 80 students, mark this number. It is the universal set. That is the total number of students. Every student studies mathematics or geography or both. If 65 students study mathematics and 60 students study geography, we ask to find the number of students that study both subjects. All right. Since we are looking for the both, it is unknown, right? So I would like to declare it with X. Let the number of students that study both subject be X. All right. Then 3 statements we are going to make here. The number of students that study mathematics only will be equal to 65 minus X. Then lastly, the number of students that studied geography only will be equal to 60 minus x. Can you see that? Then total number of students, total will be equal to, we have x, that is for the both, you see that here, then plus 65 minus x, then lastly 60 minus x. This is the total number of students. This is equal to, this will cancel this because x minus x is 0. This plus this is 125 minus x, 125 minus x. So this is the total number of students. But remember, according to the question, it stated that the number of students is what? 80. So we are going to equate this to be equal to 80. All right. You take x to the left, you take 80 to the other side. We have, as negative x crosses to the left, it becomes positive, equals 125. As 80 crosses over, it becomes 80 negative. Then 125 minus 80 is 45. Therefore, x is equal to 45. So, what is this x? Remember, x is the number of students that studied what? Both mathematics and geography. And you are dealing with objective questions. Just look through the options where we have 25 or 45 students. And this is the solution to problem number 10. And question number 11 reads, the 11th term of an arithmetic progression is 63. We're asked to find the first term if its common difference is equal to 3. All right, remember that every single term in an arithmetic progression sequence Tn is equal to a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d, for which a here is the first term, n stands for the number of terms, and d is the common difference. But we are given term number 11 according to the question, which is equal to 63. So term number 11 will be equal to a plus 11 minus 1, which is 10, then multiplied by d, right? But the 11th term is equal to 63, which is equal to a plus 10 multiplied by 3, because the common difference is equal to 3. And 10 multiplied by 3 is equal to 30. So we have that 63 is equal to a plus 30. And to find the value of a, we subtract 30 from both sides. So we have 63 minus 30. And 63 minus 30 is equal to 33. And hence, the first term of this arithmetic sequence is equal to 33. Now let us move on to question number 12. Question number 12, we are asked to evaluate 15 multiplied by 26 in modulo 5. This is a remainder arithmetic. Remember, we are going to multiply these numbers and divide by 5 because it is in mod 5. Then we look at the remainder. So this is equal to 15 multiplied by 26 divided by 5. And 15 multiplied by 26 is equal to 390 divided by 5. This is equal to 78 with no remainder. No remainder. Therefore, we say that 15 multiplied by 26 is equal to 0 in what? Mod 5. Let us move on to question number 13. Question number 13, we are asked to solve this exponential equation. 2 to the power of 3x equal to 16 to the power of 3 divided by 4. You should know that 16 can be expressed as 2 raised to the power of 4. So we have 2 to the power of 3x equal to 2 to the power of 4 raised to the power of 3 divided by 4. And if you multiply these two exponents, 4 will cancel 4, leaving only 2 to the power of 3. So 2 to the power of 3x is equal to 2 to the power of 3. And since the bases are the same, we equate the exponents, right? Therefore, 3x must be equal to 3. We divide both sides by 3, which is the coefficient of x. Therefore, x equals 3 divided by 3. And finally, x equal to 1. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 1 in this exponential equation. Question number 14. If Olu Tony and Tunde share 240,000 naira in the ratio 2 to 3 to 5 respectively, what is the 2/3 of Tunde's share? What is 2/3? 2/3 means 2 divided by 3. Of is multiplication. Then we need to find Tunde's share. Remember, they are written accordingly: Olu, Tony, and Tunde. So this will represent Olu, this will represent Tony, and this will represent Tunde. So we are talking about Tunde, which is 5, divided by the sum. If you add this ratio together, 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10. Then you multiply by the total amount, which is what? 240,000. So you can see that 2 multiplied by 5 is 10, so it will cancel this 10. All we have is 240,000 divided by 3. And 240,000 divided by 3 is exactly 80,000 naira. Therefore, 2/3 of Tunde's share is 80,000 naira. Then question number 15, we're asked to arrange the following fractions in ascending order of magnitude, meaning we should arrange them from the smallest to the biggest. There are like 3 different ways to arrange fractions. Number 1, we can change all of them to decimal numbers. Then we look at the smallest to the biggest. Secondly, we can change their numerators to be exactly the same using equivalent fractions, because if 2 or more fractions are given to you of equal numerators, that fraction with the smallest denominator says to be the greatest, right? And when they have common denominators, that fraction with the highest numerator is always the greatest. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we are going to change all of them to decimal numbers. So let's start with the first one. 2 divided by 3 is equal to 0.666. So let me write it here, 0.666, and so on. We have 3 divided by 5, which is 0.6. And we have 5 divided by 12, which is 0.41666, and so on. And we have 4 divided by 15, which is 0.26666, and so on. And lastly, we have 3 divided by 10, which is 0.3. So which one is the smallest here? All of them contain 0 point. So we have to look at the next digit. You can see that if you look at the next digit after decimal, this is the smallest number right here, right? So let me mark it as 1. So we have 1 here, then followed by which number? Followed by this one. We have 2 here, followed by this one. We have 3 here, followed by this one, because this is just 0.6. This is 0.666. So this is 4 and this is 5, meaning this is the greatest, followed by this, this, and this. So to arrange this in ascending order, we are going to start with this one, which is second to the last fraction, which is what? 4 divided by 15. So we have 4 divided by 15, followed by number 2, which is this one, 3 divided by 10. Then number 3, which is 5 divided by 12, followed by 3 divided by 5. And lastly, the biggest is 2 divided by 3. And hence, this is written in what? Ascending order. And question number 16 reads, we are asked to find the values of x, y, and z respectively, for which we are given this matrix to be equal to this matrix. Remember, if 2 or more matrices are equal, it means that they have equal entries. This is why you can see we have 9 here and we have 9 here. So all other entries must be the same. All right. This implies that x must be equal to 4, right? This is as simple as saying x equal to 4. We have obtained the value of x. Then 2y must be equal to 12. So 2y must be equal to 12, which means that what? Y must be equal to 6 if you divide both sides by 2. Then lastly, we have z to be equal to 3. As simple as that. Z equals 3. These questions are very simple. So altogether, x, y, z, we have the values to be 4, 6, and 3. Question number 17 is also under matrices. We are given a matrix P and matrix Q, and we are asked to multiply them together. So how can we do that? We first of all bring the first matrix, which is -1, 3, 2, and 1, multiply by the other matrix, 2, 2, 3, and 1. So how can we do that? To get the first row, first column element, we are going to take the whole of this row and multiply by this column. That's exactly how to do that. So -1 will multiply 2. That will give us what? -2 exactly. -2. Then 2 will multiply 2. That will give us 4 exactly. So we add 4 here. Then the first row, second column element will be this multiplied by this. So we take -1 and multiply by 3. That will give us -3. Then we take 2 and multiply by 1. That will give us 2. Then second row, first column element will be this multiplied by this. We take 3 and multiply by 2. That will give us 6. We add. We take 1 and multiply by 2. That will give us 2. Then the second row, second column element will be this multiplied by this. So 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. Then 1 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1. We simplify and get the final answer. This is equal to this together equals to 2. This will give us 8. This will give us -1. And this will give us 10. Therefore, the product of P and Q is this. As simple as that. Let us move on to question number 18. Question number 18, we are asked to evaluate log of 16 base 4 plus log of 27 base 3 minus log of 4096 base 8. So we are going to try as much as we can to transform all these entries in terms of their bases. Let's do that. We know that 16 is the same thing as 4 squared. So this is equal to log of 4 squared, still in base 4, plus 27 is 3 to the power of 3. So this is log of 3 to the power of 3, still in base 3. The minus, this is 8 to the power of 4. So we have log of 8 to the power of 4, still base 8. According to one of the laws of logarithm, all these powers will drop down to multiply. So this 2 will drop down to multiply log of 4 base 4. 3 will also drop down to multiply log of 3 base 3. Minus this 4 will also drop down to multiply log of 8 base 8. And you should know that log of any number having the same base as its number will be equal to 1. So this is 1, this is 1, this is also equal to 1. So 1 multiplied by that coefficient will still be the coefficients. So we have 2 here, we have 3 here, and we have 4 here. All right, 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 minus 4 is equal to 1. And hence the solution to this problem is equal to 1. Moving on to question number 19, we are asked to solve the equation 4x divided by 5 minus 7 divided by 3 equals 5x divided by 12. First of all, we have different ways of solving problems like this, but for me, I always prefer to clear the fractions. And how can we do that? By multiplying every single term by the LCM of all of these numbers, 5, 3, and 12. The LCM is what? 60. So we are going to take 60 and multiply all of these 3 times. So let's do that. We have 60 multiplied by 4x divided by 5 minus 60 multiplied by 7 divided by 3. This is equal to 60 multiplied by 5x divided by 12. So let's start from the left hand side. We know that 5 can divide 60 exactly 12 times. So we have 12 multiplied by 4x minus 3 can divide 60 exactly 20 times. So we have 20 here multiplied by 7. This is equal to 12 can divide 60 exactly 5 times. So we have 5 multiplied by 5x. 12 multiplied by 4 will give us 48x minus 20 multiplied by 7 is 140. And this is equal to 5 times 5 is 25x. So let's take 140 to the other side and bring backward 25. So we have 48x minus 25x, and this is equal to 140. And if you subtract this, you're going to get 23 exactly. This is 23x equals 140. Then we divide both sides by the coefficient. X will be equal to 140 divided by 23. So this is the solution to this problem. Or if you like, you can write it in mixed number. How many times can 23 go into 140? Exactly 6 times, with a remainder of 2 out of 23. And this is the solution to this problem. Let us move on to question number 20. Question number 20, you are given a function here, which is 3x squared minus 9x minus 5. And we're asked to find f of negative 3. So wherever we have x, we are going to replace it with negative 3. Therefore, f of negative 3 will be equal to 3 multiplied by negative 3 instead of x whole squared minus 9 multiplied by negative 3, then minus 5. Negative 3 squared is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Minus 9, minus is plus, right? 9 times 3 is 27 as well. We have minus 5. This will give us 54 minus 5, which is 49. So this is 49 exactly. Therefore, f of negative 3 is equal to 49. As simple as that. And question number 21 reads, find u in terms of f and v in the relation 1 divided by v equal to 1 divided by f minus 1 divided by u. This is simply saying we should make u the subject. Alright, since this contains u, let us take it to the left hand side. As negative 1 divided by u crosses over, it becomes positive 1 divided by u. This is equal to, already we have 1 divided by f to the other side. As this goes to the other side, it becomes negative 1 divided by v. Alright, let us simplify the right hand side first. You take v and multiply it by 1. That will give us v minus, because of this minus sign, f multiplied by 1, that is f, divided by the product of f and v, that is fv. This is equal to 1 divided by u. Alright, since we are looking for u, not 1 divided by u, we can take reciprocal of both sides. Once you take reciprocal of 1 divided by u, it becomes u divided by 1, right? Simply switch numerator and denominator. So u divided by 1 is simply u. You do the same thing to the other side. Take this one down and take this up. We have fv divided by v minus f. And hence, we have just expressed u in terms of v and f. As simple as that. Now let us move on to question number 22. Question number 22, we are asked to find the quadratic equation whose roots are negative 1 and 5. Alright, it is as simple as taking x squared, then you subtract, you add these two together. Once you add negative 1 and 5, you're going to get 4. Then you attach x, then you multiply them together, that is this times this, That will give us negative 5. Then you set everything to be equal to 0. And hence, this is the quadratic equation with these two roots. But let me just give you the formula. It is x squared minus sum of roots multiplied by x plus product, meaning you should multiply them together. Then you set everything to be equal to 0. And you're good to go. Then question number 23. The product of two numbers is 40 and their sum is 13. We asked to find the numbers. You should know that you are dealing with objective questions, so no one will see your solution. And hence, if you have any shortcut of solving a problem, you can go ahead and do that. Since we are talking about product, two numbers you can multiply together to get 40. And once you add them together, you get 13. You definitely know that the two numbers must be what? 8 and 5. 8 and 5. And hence, this is said to be the solution to this problem. But suppose it is a theory question where you have to show working. Let me show you how to do that. You can just pick two values like x and y. So if you multiply x and y together, you get 40. And once you add them together, you get 13. This is what the question is saying. Two numbers, which we have declared to be x and y, their product is 40, their sum is 13. This implies that x is equal to 13 minus y by making x the subject. And you can simply plug in this equation into this one. Wherever you have x, you replace it with 13 minus y. So for this x, we have 13 minus y, then multiply by the y, which is equal to 40, right? So we expand. Y times 13 is 13y minus y times y, which is y squared, equal to 40. Then we take every single term to the right hand side. Once negative y squared crosses over, it becomes y squared. Once 13y crosses over, it becomes negative 13y. We already have 40 there and everything equal to 0. Now you just think of two numbers you can multiply together to get 40. But once you add them together, you get negative 13. And the numbers are negative 8 and negative 5. So we have y minus 8 and y minus 5. This is equal to 0. By setting each factor to be equal to 0, we have y minus 8 equal to 0 or y minus 5 equals 0, which implies that y is equal to 8 or y equal to 5. So y is either equal to 8 or y equal to 5. But remember, we have a value of x, which we have declared to be 13 minus y. So you have x to be equal to 13 minus the first y, which is 8, which is going to give us what? 5, right? So this is when y is equal to 8 and when y is equal to 5, because we have two values, x will be equal to 13 minus 5, which is equal to 8. So in both cases, when the first value is 8, the second value will be 5. And when the first value is 5, the other one will be 8. You know, this is commutative, they are interchangeable. So the only values we have are 8 and 5. These are the two values you can multiply together to get 40. And once you add them together, you get 13. Let us move on to question number 24. Question number 24. If x plus 6 is a factor of x squared plus 4x minus 12, we are asked to find the other factor. Remember, I told you that this is objective questions. No one needs to see your solutions. And hence, if you have any other alternative that will make your work easier and faster, you can always apply that idea. So for me, I would like to factorize this directly because I know I am going to obtain this factor and the other one. So two numbers you can multiply to get negative 12, but the moment you add them together, you get 4. The numbers are 6 and negative 2. Therefore, x squared plus 4x minus 12 is equal to x plus 6 multiplied by x minus 2. Because the moment you take negative 2, you multiply by 6, that will give you negative 12. And once you add them together, you're going to get 4. And hence, since this is given to us, the other factor we are looking for is x minus 2. Therefore, the other factor The other factor is x minus 2. But in case of theory questions, what they want you to do here is to carry out long division, which we can do like this. You plug in x squared plus 4x minus 12 here, and our factor x plus 6 here. Then you start dividing. You take the first time, you divide by the first time here. So x can go into x squared exactly x times. Then you take x, you multiply by x. That will give us x squared. You take x, you multiply by 6. That's going to give you 6x. Then you subtract. X squared minus x squared is 0. Then 4x minus 6x is negative 2x. Negative 2x. Then you drop down negative 12. Then you repeat the same process. Take x and plug it into negative 2x. That will give you negative 2. Then negative 2 times x, that is negative 2x. Then negative 2 multiplied by 6, that is negative 12. You subtract again. Once you subtract, you're going to get 0 exactly. So you can see the other factor here, x minus 2, which we obtained initially. Now let us move on to question number 25. Question number 25, we are asked to calculate the midpoint of the line joining the point 8, negative 3 and negative 2, 3. x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. This will be the point, the midpoint connecting these 2 points. So if we should consider this one as x1, this will be x2. So let's add them together. We have 8 plus minus 2, which is just 8 minus 2, divided by 2, comma. Then this will be y1, this is y2. We have negative 3 plus 3 divided by 2. 8 minus 2 is 6, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Minus 3 plus 3 is 0, and 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So this is the point we are looking for. And question number 26 reads, we're asked to calculate the gradient of the line joining the 2 points, negative 2, negative 5, and 4, 8, correct to 1 decimal place. Remember that gradient, which is denoted with m, is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And you can start from any point. If you start from this, you have to consider this as x1, y1, x2, y2, and if you start from the other side, you do the same thing. All right. So let's assume this is our y2. We take it and subtract y1. That would be 8 minus 5, which is 8 plus 5, right? So this is 8 plus 5 divided by 4 minus 2 is the same thing as 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2. So we have 13 divided by 6. And 13 divided by 6 is equal to 2.1666 recording. But they said to the correct to 1 decimal place, right? So to 1 decimal place, we have this to be equal to 2.2. You round it up, 1 dp. So this is just the solution to this problem. Let us move on to question number 27. Question number 27 is logic. We are given the statement P stands for all terrorists are guilty. Q stands for all terrorists are criminals. So we asked to write the statement in the symbolic form. All terrorists are not guilty but criminals. Suppose all of these two statements are true, we can write it as P and Q. But they said that the first statement, remember, it is what? All terrorists are guilty. But according to the statement given to us here to write, they said all terrorists are not. So you have to negate this one. And hence, this is said to be the solution to this problem, which reads, all terrorists are not guilty, but criminals. This is how to write it. Question number 28, we are asked to simplify this. Let's do that. This is equal to 3 multiplied by x plus 1. That is going to give us 3x plus 1 divided by 3.
Let me use this division sign for this one. You do the same thing here. 2 multiplied by x plus 1. That is 2x plus 1. Then divide by 2. This is 3x plus 1 divided by 3. You multiply, you take the reciprocal of this. That will give us 2 divided by 2x plus 1. This multiplied by this, right? That is 2 bracket 3x plus 1 divided by 3 multiplied by this. That is 2x plus 1. If you like, you expand. Otherwise, you can leave it like this. But according to the options, this is the right one. Let's move on to question number 29. Question number 29, we are asked to find the equation of the line whose gradient is 6 and y-intercept is negative 8. Equation of the line y equal to m multiplied by x plus c. M here is the gradient, c is the y-intercept. And all of these two values are given already. So we have y equal to m, which is 6 multiplied by x, and c is negative 7. As simple as that. But according to the options, they wrote it as y equal to negative 7 plus 6x. Remember, they are commutative. So this is the right option. Question number 30 reads, find the sum of the roots of the quadratic equation x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. I'm going to show you two different ways to do that because we are dealing with objective questions. So we need to know all the shortcuts. So for the sum of roots of quadratic equation is always given as negative b divided by a. Remember this. And if you're talking about product, which we have not asked to find, you can always take c divided by a. But what is this a, b, and c? Remember, a is the leading coefficient, which is coefficient of x squared, which is supposed to be 1. B is the coefficient of x, which is negative 5. And c is the constant, which is 6. So since we are talking about the sum only, we take negative b. So the sum will be negative, but b is negative 5 divided by a, which is 1 already. Negative negative is positive 5, then 5 divided by 1 is 5. Therefore, the sum of roots is equal to 5. But suppose you don't know this method, you can solve the equation, take the two roots, add them together, and you must get 5. So let's do that. The equation is x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. Let us solve it. Think of two numbers you can add together. You can multiply together to get 6. But once you add them together, you get negative 5. And the numbers are negative 2 and negative 3, right? By setting each factor to be equal to 0, it implies either x is equal to positive 2 or positive 3. So this is the solution. Remember, they say sum, meaning you should add the two roots together. Just look at 2 plus 3 is 5. And therefore, the sum is 5. So let me give you this bonus because we are not asked to find the product, but let me just find it. The product, remember we say it is what? C divided by A. And C is 6, A is 1. So this is equal to 6 divided by 1, which is equal to 6. And also, if you decide to solve the equation and multiply the roots, look at it. 2 multiplied by 3 will give us 6. And hence, the sum which we are asked to find is 5. Just look at the option, tick 5, and you're good to go. Question number 31. We're asked to find the roots of the quadratic equation 8x squared minus 6x minus 9 equal to 0. Remember, you are dealing with objective questions, so no one needs to see your solutions. So let me show you a shortcut to do that. First of all, you take the leading coefficient, you multiply by the constant term. You take 8 multiplied by negative 9, and this will give us what? Negative 72. Then you think of two numbers, which when you multiply them together, you get this negative 72. But the moment you add the two numbers together, you shall obtain negative 6. And the numbers are negative 12 and positive 6. These two numbers, once you multiply them together, you shall obtain negative 72. And the moment you add them together, you get negative 6. So let me show you how to find the roots. We have x. you take the first number here, which is negative 12. Negative 12, you divide by the leading coefficient. Then you multiply it by x again, then plus 6. Divide by the leading coefficient, everything equal to 0. All right, remember we are going to set each factor here to be equal to 0, but we can mentally reduce this to the lowest term because I know 4 can divide 12 exactly 3 times, and 4 can divide 8 exactly 2 times. So this is x minus 3 divided by 2 equals 0. Or the other one, we can reduce this to the lowest term because 2 can divide 6 3 times. So this is x plus 3 divided by 2 can divide this exactly 4 times. This is also equal to 0. So this implies that x is either equal to 3 divided by 2 or x equal to negative 3 divided by 4. And these are the two factors or the two roots of this quadratic equation. Question number 32, we are asked to expand these factors. So we take the first number here, 2x, then we multiply over 3x plus 4. We take the second one, which is negative 3, we distribute it over 3x plus 4. Let's expand. 2x times 3x, that is 6x squared. 2x times 4 is 8x. Then you go to the other one, negative 3 times 3x, that is negative 9x. Then negative 3 times 4, that is negative 12. Then the middle terms, we can add them together. This is 6x squared. This and this will give us negative x, then minus 12. And we are done. Question number 33. The difference between the present ages of two brothers is 6 and their product is 135. We are asked to find the sum of the ages. If you are a critical thinker, you can confidently find these numbers without working because you are dealing with objective questions. I know definitely the numbers are 15 and 9 because once you subtract 9 from 15, you shall obtain 6. And the moment you multiply these two numbers together, you shall obtain 135. So the sum is what? 15 plus 9, which is going to give us 24. So 24 is our final answer because they say we should find the sum of these ages. Well, let me show you how you can do that. You can assume the two numbers are x and y. And you can declare that x is greater than y, right? So the difference, meaning you should take the bigger number, which is x, you subtract the smaller one, and you must get 6. And once you multiply them together, you shall obtain 135. So from the first equation, we can make x the subject, which is x equal to 6 plus y. And you take this one, you plug it into the second one. Wherever we have x, we replace it with 6 plus y. This is 6 plus y. They're multiplied by y again. This is equal to 135, right? Y times 6 is 6y, and y times y is y squared. You can bring this one in. This is negative 135 equals 0. Let us rearrange it as y squared plus 6y minus 135. This is equal to 0. How can we factorize this? You think of two numbers which when you multiply them together, you get negative 135. But the moment you add them together, you get negative 6. And the numbers are negative 9 and positive 15. So this is y plus 15 multiplied by y minus 9. This is equal to 0, right? By setting each factor to be equal to 0, it implies y is either negative 15 or y equal to 9 if you take this constants to the other side. But remember, we are dealing with ages, so we don't expect an age to be negative, and we're going to consider this one. So if y is equal to 9, remember x is equal to 6 plus y. X equal to 6 plus y, which implies that x equal to 6 plus 9, right? So x is equal to 15. So you can see that x is 15 and y is 9, but we're talking about sum. Sum will be what? 15 plus 9, which is equal to 24. You see that? The sum of their ages is 24. As simple as that. Now let us move on to question number 34. Question number 34 is under cycle theorem. We're given a cycle PQS. We have a tangent line here, R to T, which meets the cycle at S. We have a chord here. An angle subtended by that chord to the center is 120 degrees. By seeing these two marks, you should know that the triangle POS is an isosceles triangle. And we're asked to find the measure of angle PST. Where is PST? PST. We are talking about this angle. So since we are dealing with objective questions, I don't think I'm going to show any working here. One thing you should remember is that angle subtended to the center is twice the angle subtended to the circumference from the same arc or chord. So therefore, this angle right here must be what? 60 degrees, because angle subtended to the center must be twice this one. So once you divide the angle subtended to the center by 2, you shall obtain this one. That's number one. And you should remember alternate segment theorem, which stated that that angle formed between the tangent line and the chord is always equal to that interior angle subtended by that chord to the circumference, which is this one. So therefore, this one will also be equal to 60, right? So this is 60 degrees. And what are we looking for? PST, which is also 60. So therefore, angle PST is equal to 60 degrees without showing any working. Let us move on to question number 35. Question number 35 is also under cycle theorem. We are given a cycle ABCD. We have a chord here which is extended to M. We have this angle here to be 82 degrees, and we're given another angle here which is 74 degrees. Our main goal or target is to find the measure of angle ABO. So let us locate it. ABO. So we're talking about this particular angle. Let me call it X. All right. You should know that angle on a straight line equal to 180 degrees, which means that this particular angle here is 180 degrees. So this is a missing angle here, which if you combine together with 82, you shall obtain 180. Therefore, this must be 98 degrees, because 98 plus 82 will give us 180. This is objective. We don't have to show workings. And another theorem you should remember is that the opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is supplementary, meaning if you add them together, you must get 180. You can see that this is a cyclic quadrilateral because all the vertices are touching the circumference. Therefore, this angle and this angle must add up to 180 degrees, which implies that this angle right here must be 82 degrees, because this and this will give us 180. All right, we are almost done. Angle subtended to the center is twice the angle subtended to the circumference, right? So therefore, this angle subtended to the center, which is unknown, must be twice this angle subtended to the circumference from the same arc or chord. This is an arc BD, subtends an angle to the center. The same arc subtends another one to the circumference, which implies that this particular angle here must be twice this one, and twice 82 will give us 164. So now we are good to go, because this is another quadrilateral, and the sum of all the interior angles of a quadrilateral equals what? 360 degrees. So it means that if we add this, and this together, we shall obtain 360. So let's add x plus 98 degrees plus 74 degrees plus 164 degrees. This must give us 160 degrees. And if you add all of these three angles together, you get 336. So this is x plus 336 degrees equals 360 degrees. To find the value of x, we take this one to the other side. We have x equals 360 degrees minus 336 degrees. and this will give us 24 degrees exactly. So that angle we are looking for, which is this one, is 24 degrees, which is ABO. Therefore ABO is 24 degrees, as simple as that.
And question number 36 reads, calculate the area of the trapezium below, which you can see here. We have the parallel sides. We have 8 centimeter and 16 centimeter. The height is unknown, but we are given an angle here. This is a right angle triangle with the hypotenuse being 12 cm. All right, let's get started. The area of trapezium is equal to half multiplied by A plus B. A and B are just the parallel sides, which we have 8 and 16. Then you multiply by the height. So this is equal to 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 8 plus 16 multiplied by h. 8 plus 16 is 24, and half of 24 is 12. So this is 12h. But what is h? We need to find it. H is equal to what? If you consider this right triangle right here, we have the hypotenuse and the opposite side given this angle 30 degrees. So what is the relationship between the hypotenuse and the opposite side? Is sine, right? Therefore, h is equal to 12 sine of 30 degrees. And sine of 30 degrees is 0.5. 0.5 is the same thing as half, right? Then half of 12 is 6. And therefore, h is equal to 6 cm, which we can now plug into this equation. A finally equal to 12 multiplied by 6, and A equal to 72 cm squared. And 72 cm squared is just the area of this trapezium. Let us move on to question number 37. Question number 37 reads, a boy walks 4 kilometers due west. He then changes direction and walks on a bearing of 214 degrees until he is southwest of his starting point. How far is he from his starting point? We are asked to correct our answer correct to 1 decimal place. All right. Let me draw the 4 cardinal points here. These are the 4 cardinal points. We have the north, the south, the east, and the west. So let's assume he started somewhere here. Let's call it starting point S. Then he walks due west, so directly horizontally to the left hand side, right? So from here we are going to draw 4 kilometers due west. This is 4 kilometers. Before he changes direction, but this time around he works on the bearing of 114 degrees. So let me draw 4 cardinal points here. This is the north, this is the south, right? And this is the east, this is the west. But I don't need to write east and west. Let me remove them. But remember that this bearing is always calculated from the north. So you have to start from here down to 214 degrees. But remember that this is 90, this is another 90, making 180. So from 180, if you're heading to 214, you need 34 extra. So that 34 will have to be situated somewhere here. You know, this is not on scale. So everything here is 200 and what? 14 degrees. But we don't have to write it because we are going to exclude 90 degrees here, which is this angle. So if this is 90 degrees, what will be this angle here? Because we need a total of 214 degrees. So that angle will be 124, because if you add 124 and 90 degrees together, you're going to obtain 214 degrees. All right. So he keeps on moving on this line until he reaches a point which is what? Southwest of the starting point. Where is the southwest? Remember, if you have a cardinal point here, this point is going to be southwest, because this is south, this is west. So southwest will be 45 degrees between south and west. That is halfway. All right, so let me connect this point. So if this is 45 degrees, we are going to connect it to the other part. All right, something like this. So this must be 45 degrees. I remember that we are looking for this distance because this is where he stops. And this is the starting point. We are asked to find the distance from here down to the starting point. But let me complete the angles because the interior angles of a triangle equals 180 degrees. So once you subtract these two angles from 180 degrees, you're going to have 11 left. So this angle must be 11 degrees. So we're going to apply sine ratio to find the missing side. Remember that sine ratio, let me shift it to the left a little bit. This x, which is unknown, divide by sine of that opposite angle to it, which is 124. 124 degrees must be equal to, you can choose side and angle given because we have a side and an angle here, so you can use them. We have 4 divided by sine 11 degrees. From here you can make x the subject. We have x equals 4 multiplied by sine of 124 degrees divided by sine of 11 degrees. Remember, this is just an objective question. Just take your calculator, press 4 multiplied by sine of 124 degrees, press equality sign, then press the division sign, divide by, then you press sine of 11 degrees. That will give us 17.4 kilometer to 1 decimal place. So x is equal to 17.4 kilometer. And this is said to be the solution to this problem. Now let us move on to question number 38. Question number 38 reads, 2 points P and Q lie on the same great cycle, talking about longitude. P is on the latitude 70 degrees north and Q is on the latitude 55 degrees north. We are asked to calculate their difference of latitude. You can see that both P and Q have the same unit because they are all on the north hemisphere. That is the northern hemisphere. So if they have the same unit and you wish to find the difference, all you have to do is to take the bigger value, subtract the lower value or the smaller one. But if they have different unit, for instance, if this is 70 degrees north and this is 55 degrees south, then you add. You see the difference? If they have different units, you add. If they have the same unit, you subtract. All right. So therefore, the solution to this problem, alpha, which is the difference, is equal to 70 degrees minus 55 degrees, which is equal to 15 degrees, as simple as that. Question number 39 reads, a bird which is on top of a building 35-meter high observe a prey 25-meter away from the foot of the building. We ask to calculate angle of depression of the prey from the building. Okay, let's assume we have a building right here, which is what, 35-meter high, and we have a bed situated somewhere here. Then let's assume this is the prey, which is 25-meter away from the foot of the building. Angle of depression will be the angle between this horizontal line and the line of sight. So we're talking about this angle right here, which we can call theta. And because these two lines are horizontal, this angle is alternate to this one, right? So they must be equal. So you can see we have a right angle triangle right here. We're talking about this angle. This is opposite to the angle, and we have this side length to be adjacent to that angle. So we are going to use tan ratio. Therefore, tangent of theta is equal to opposite divided by the adjacent, and theta is equal to tan inverse or arctangent, all the same, of 35 divided by 25. Just press tan inverse, then you plug in 35 divided by 24, you shall obtain theta to be equal to 54.46 degrees in 2 decimal places. And this is all about question number 39. Let us move on to question number 40. Question number 40 reads, we are asked to calculate the length of an arc which sustains an angle of 66 degrees at the center of a cycle of radius 8 cm, correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, first of all, I would like to draw a cycle here. Suppose we have a cycle here, and let's assume this is the center of the cycle. This is a sector, right? And this is 8 cm according to the question. So this point here, this length is called L, and that's what we call the arc. And the angle subtended is 66 degrees according to the question. So what will be the length of this arc? So according to the formula, L is equal to theta divided by 360 degrees multiplied by 2 pi r. So let's substitute everything. Theta is the angle subtended, which is 66 degrees, divided by total angle on a cycle, which is 360 degrees, multiplied by 2, multiplied by pi. You know, in Nigeria, we commonly use 22 divided by 7, then multiply by the radius, which is 8. All right, you can take your calculator, press this, multiply by this, multiply by this, multiply by this, and that will give us 23,232. Divide by, you take 360, you multiply by 7, that will give us 2,520. Then use your calculator to divide these values. You're going to get 9.2190 and so on, but they set to 1 decimal place, so this will be 9.2 cm, and this is said to be the length of that arc. And here is question number 41. We're asked to find the value of y in this diagram. If you look at it carefully, this is a triangle, right? And both this and this are said to be the exterior angles of this triangle. But remember that angle on a straight line equals 180 degrees. So if this is 123 degrees, what will be this angle? It will be 180 minus 123 degrees, which is going to give us 57 degrees. Remember, you don't have to always show your working because you're dealing with objective questions. There's no any space for working. All right. So since this is another exterior angle, remember that an exterior angle is always equal to the sum of the two interior opposite angles. So once you add these two angles together, you shall obtain y. And 57 plus 75 will give us 132. Therefore, y is equal to 132 degrees. As simple as that. Let us move on to question number 42. Question number 42 reads, the base radius and height of a cone are 4 centimeter and 6 centimeter respectively. We're asked to calculate its volume correct to the nearest whole number. So what is the formula for calculating the volume of a cone? It is given as V is equal to 1 divided by 3 pi r squared h. H is the height, r is the radius, and pi is constant. And since we are not given the pi, we are going to use 22 divided by 7, which we commonly use in Nigeria. So V is equal to 1 divided by 3 multiplied by 22 divided by 7 for pi. Then r, we are given that as 4 centimeters, but squared, which means what? 4 squared, or you can simply write it as 4 multiplied by 4, right? Is the same thing. Then multiply by the height, which is given as 6. All right. In order not to waste time, you can take your calculator, multiply the numerators together. That is 1 times 22 times 4 times 4 times 6. That will give us 2,116. Then you divide by the denominator, 3 times 7, which is 21. And if you divide this, you're going to get 101, correct to the nearest whole number. And what will be the unit? cm cube. All right, let us move on to question number 43.
Question number 43, we are asked to find the distance between these 2 points, 3, negative 4 and negative 5, 2. So what is the distance formula? D is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 whole squared plus y2 minus y1 whole squared. Simplify and get your final answer. All right. Let me call this one x1, y1, x2, y2. So let's substitute. D is equal to the square root of x2 is negative 5 minus x1 is 3 whole squared plus y2 is 2 minus y1 is negative 4. So that minus will transform this to positive whole squared. D is equal to negative 5, negative 3 is negative 8, and negative 8 squared is 64, plus 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 squared is 36. If you combine this together, you're going to get 100 exactly, and square root of 100 is 10. Therefore, the distance between them is just 10 units. Let us move on to question number 44. Question number 44, we're asked to calculate the surface area of a sphere with diameter of 10.4 cm. Correct to 3 significant figures. We're asked to take pi as 3.142. Alright, formula is always very important. The area of a sphere is given as 4 pi r squared. Remember that diameter is given as 10.4. Therefore, radius will be equal to half of this, and half of this will be 5.2 cm. So we are going to use 5.2 as our radius. So therefore, area is equal to 4 multiplied by pi, which they say we should use 3.142. Then multiply by radius squared, that is 5.2 whole squared. So we are going to use our calculator. Press everything directly. You can even start with this one. 5.2 whole squared, then multiply by 3.142, then multiply by 4, and that will be the area of that sphere, which is 339.83872. But what did they say? Correct to 3 significant figures. So let us correct it. First significant, second, and the third. So we have to stop at 339. But remember that you have to look at the next digit. Once it is greater or equal to 5, you have to round it up. So because this is 8, you have to add 1 to this number. And the moment you add 1 to this number, it becomes 10. And 1 will come to this number to become 4. So 340 altogether. So area will be 340 cm squared. Now let us move on to question number 45. Question number 45. OB walks 400 meters to the top of a hill, which slopes at an angle of what, 30 degrees to the horizontal. We asked to determine the height of the hill. So let me make a simple sketch here. Suppose we have a hill like this. Suppose this is a hill. He climbed the hill, which is 400 meters. So this is 400 meters, and which slopes at an angle of 30 degrees to the horizontal. So this is a horizontal line. So this is 30 degrees. And let me cut it like this. Remember, we are looking for the height. This is the height, right? So if you look at this angle to the height, they are opposite to each other. And this is our hypotenuse, which is the inclined surface. So we can use sine ratio, right? So sine of 30 degrees will be equal to opposite divided by the hypotenuse, which is 400. Therefore, h will be 400 multiplied by sine of 30 degrees. Sine of 30 degrees is 1 divided by 2. So this is just 400 multiplied by 1 divided by 2, which is simply half of 400, right? And half of 400 is 200. Therefore, the height is equal to 200 meters. As simple as that. And question number 46 reads, the volume of a spherical ball is 114 cm cube. We're asked to find its radius to the nearest whole number. All right. Formula is always very important. The volume of a sphere is given as 4 divided by 3 multiplied by pi r cubed. All right. But the volume is already given as 114. This is equal to 4 divided by 3 multiplied by pi. Since pi is not given, we are going to use 22 divided by 7, which is commonly used in Nigeria, multiplied by the radius cubed, which we are looking for. All right. This is 114 equal to, you take 4, you multiply by 22, that will give us 88 divided by 3 multiplied by 7, that is 21 multiplied by r cubed. We can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of this, which is the coefficient of r cubed. So we have that r cubed is equal to 114 multiplied by the reciprocal of this would be 21 divided by 88. And 114 multiplied by 21 is equal to 2394. 2394 divided by 88, which is equal to 27.205. We have other values. This is to 3 decimal places. Finally, to find r, we are going to take cube root of both sides. Cube root of 27.205, which is to the nearest whole number equal to 3 cm. And hence the radius of that sphere is 3 centimeters. Let us move on to question number 47. Question number 47 reads, find the equation of a line with gradient -1 divided by 4 passing through the point 3, 2. Okay, let me use point slope form, which is y minus y1 equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. Since we are given x1 and y1, we can apply this, and also the slope is given, which is the gradient. So let's substitute. We have y minus y1 is 2 equal to the gradient is 1 divided by a -1 divided by 4 multiplied by x minus x1, which is 3. I would like to clear the fraction by multiplying every single term by 4. Once you do that, this fraction will go. So y multiplied by 4 will give us 4y minus 2 times 4 is 8 equals -1 divided by 4 times 4 will be -1 multiplied by x minus 3. This is 4y minus 8 equals, we can distribute this -1. We have -x plus 3. All right, I would like to take this one to the left and take this to the right. We have 4y as -x crosses over, it becomes +x equals 3. As this crosses over, it becomes positive as well. So this is 4y plus x equals 11. And this is said to be the equation of that line that passes through the point 3, 2 with a gradient of -1 divided by 4. Now let us move on to question number 48. Question number 48, we are asked to calculate the value of y in the figure below, and we're asked to leave the answer in short form. So we're given a right angle triangle here. The hypotenuse is 6 cm, the adjacent side is y, and the angle is 30 degrees here, and we're asked to find the side length. So remember that the relationship between the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, and the adjacent side is what? Cosine. So cosine of that angle will be equal to adjacent divided by the hypotenuse.
So to make the adjacent the subject, we can multiply both sides by 6. So this is 6 multiplied by cosine of 30 degrees. And cosine of 30 degrees is root 3 divided by 2. So this is 6 multiplied by root 3 divided by 2. And you know that 2 can divide 6 exactly 3 times. So this is the same thing as 3 multiplied by root 3. This is our answer in sodic form. Now let's move on to question number 49. We are asked to use the following information to answer question number 49 down to 51. Given the following set of numbers, you can see the numbers right here. We are asked to calculate the mean. Remember that the mean is equal to summation of xi's, all the items you have, divided by the number of items. This is x bar, sorry. And x bar will be equal to the sum of all of these numbers. We have 11 plus 8 plus 9 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 10 plus 2 plus 6 plus 5. Divide by the total numbers we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are 10 in number. And once you add all of these numbers together, you're going to get 64. Then you divide it by 10. And once you divide this by 10, you're going to get 6.4. And hence, the mean of this distribution is 6.4. Question number 50, we're asked to find the median. To find the median, remember, we are concerned with the middle value. So we have to arrange the values in either ascending or descending order. So let's do that. These are the values. Let me just copy them. So let us arrange them in ascending order. First, starting from the smallest is 2, followed by 3, followed by 4, we have 5, we have 6 twice, we don't have 7, but we have 8, we have 9, we have 10, and we have 11. So we have arranged our values in ascending order, so we need to pick that middle number. But in this case, you can see that we have two numbers that appear in the middle, right? Because we have 4 here, we have other 4 here, so we have 2 at the middle. So whenever you have this situation where you have two numbers, to find the median, you need to find the average of those numbers. So we have 6 plus 6 again, then you divide it by 2, right? 6 plus 6 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. Therefore, the median is 6. And finally, we are talking about mode. Mode is the value that appeared the most in a given distribution. And you can see that it is only 6 that appear twice here. All other numbers appear only once. Therefore, the mode is equal to 6. And this is said to be the mode. So 52, we are asked to find the range of the following set of numbers: 4, 9, 6, 3, 2, 8, 10, 7, and 11. The range is just the difference between the bigger number and the smaller number. From this set of values, 11 is said to be the biggest, while 2 is the least here. Therefore, we have 11 minus 2 as the range. And 11 minus 2 is equal to 9, and hence 9 is said to be the range value of this set of numbers. Question number 53, we are given values here and we are asked to find the variance. So the formula is what? Summation of x minus x bar whole squared divided by n. X here stands for all of these numbers. So I can even say xi, because I stands from 1 down to the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 1 to 5. And x bar is the mean. Therefore, we have to find the mean. Mean is the summation of all the numbers divided by their total number. So you can see that this is where I computed for the mean. We added all the numbers together. We got 155, and we divide by the total number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that gives us 31. So 31 is said to be the mean. So we take every single entry here or value, which is 30, that is the first one. We subtract the mean, that is x minus x bar, then we square. You should know that 30 minus
31 is -1. And once you square that, you're going to get 1. Then you take the second value, which is 28. Then 28 minus 31 will give us -3. And -3 squared is 9. You take the next one, which is 35. And 35 minus 31 will give us 4. And 4 squared will give us 16. You take the next one, which is 25. 25 minus 31 will give us -6. And -6 squared will give us 36. Then the last one, 37 minus 31 is 6, and 6 squared is 36. You add all of these numbers together, that will give us 98. Then you divide by n. Remember, n is the number of items. And 98 divided by 5 is 19.6. And 19.6 is said to be the variance of this distribution. Then moving on to question number 54. If the tickets numbered 1 to 16 inclusive are mixed up and a ticket is drawn at random, what is the probability that the ticket drawn is a multiple of 2 or 3? So the sample space, that is what you have to start with. A ticket numbered from 1 to 16, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to 16. Then among this sample space, we need to pick out the multiples of 2. So the multiples of 2 we have are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 6. And all of these are subset of the sample space. Then we also need multiples of 3, which are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. They are all from this sample space as well. Then what are the outcomes? The outcomes is a combination of these multiples of 2 or 3, because O stands for addition. So, but if you want to mix them together, you should know that there will not be a repetition. But from this set, you can see 6 and which other number, 12, appear twice because we have 6 and 12 here as well. So we're only going to write them once. This is why we included 6 and 12 only once in the set of outcomes. So altogether we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the probability will be what? The number of outcomes all over the number of sample space. The number of sample space is 16 already, and the outcomes, they are what? 11 in number. So we have 11 divided by 16 as the probability. And question number 55. The following are lucky numbers in a raffle draw: 4, 5, 12, 20, 2, 8, 3, 6, 10, 9, 7, 25, 12, 10, 14, and 27. If a number is picked at random, what is the probability that the number is a perfect cube? A perfect cube number is a number from the product of 3 identical numbers. For example, 1 times 1 times 1 will give us 1. Therefore, 1 is a perfect cube. 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8. 8 is a perfect cube. 3 times 3, 9 times 3 is 27. So 27 is a perfect cube. So among all of these numbers, we only have 8 and 27 as perfect cube. Therefore, our expected outcome will be what? Just 8 and 27. So the probability will be what? Number of expected outcome divided by number of sample space. Number of expected outcome, they are just 2 in number. You can see them here. And sample space is 16. If you count all of these numbers together, you realize 16. And 2 divided by 16 to the lowest term is 1 divided by 8. And hence the probability is 1 divided by 8. As simple as that. And question number 56 reads, the probability that it will rain in Lagos and Oyo on the same day are 3 divided by 4 and 1 divided by 2 respectively. We're asked to find the probability that it will not rain in both towns on the same day. Alright. I would like to declare P of L to be the probability that it will rain in Lagos, which is given from the question as 3 divided by 4. And P of O to be the probability that it will rain in Oyo, which is 1 divided by 2. But we are talking about it will not, right? So let me call it P not L. That is probability that it will not rain in Lagos. This will be 1 minus 3 divided by 4. And once you simplify this, you're going to get 1 over 4. We do the same thing here. Probability that it will not rain in Oyo will be 1 minus 1 divided by 2, which is 1 divided by 2. But the question is saying we should find the probability that it will not rain in both towns on the same day. So since this event is what independent, we can multiply them together. So probability that not both, this is just a declaration. This is equal to 1 over 4 multiplied by 1 over 2. And this will give us 1 divided by 8. And this is said to be the solution to this problem. Now let us move on to question number 57. Question number 57, we are given ages of students in tabular form. You can see ages here, 16 years, 17 years, and 18 years with the corresponding number of students, 4, 8, and 6 respectively. So the question reads, what is the probability that a student chosen at random is less than 18 years? All right, first of all, I would like to find the number of students. So number of students altogether is equal to 4 plus 8 plus 6. These are the students we have. 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 8 is 18. So we have 18 students altogether, but we are talking about students that are less than 18 years. You see this hour where we have students with 18 years. So we are talking about these two. So let me say students less than 18 years. Students less than 18 will just be 4 plus 8, which is equal to 12. So what is the probability? Probability will be equal to the expected outcome, which is 12, divided by the sample space, which is 18. And this to the lowest time, because I know 6 can divide 12 exactly 2 times. So this is equal to 2 divided by 3, because 6 can divide 18 exactly 3 times. So 2 divided by 3 is said to be the solution to this problem. Now let us move on to question number 58. Question number 58, though we have a statement right here, a particle moves a distance of s meters, where s equal to 5t cubed minus 12t squared plus 7. So the question here, which is 58, at what time is its acceleration equals 0? All right. You should know that acceleration here will be the second derivative, because the first derivative will be the velocity. So let us find the velocity first, v of t. To find the velocity, we are going to differentiate this function. This 3 will drop down to multiply 5, and that will give us 15. T, you reduce 1 from the exponent. 3 minus 1 is 2. Minus, this is power of 2. It will drop down to multiply 12. You have 24. And 2 minus 1 will be 1. So we just have t here. I remember that the derivative of constant is always 0. So this is our velocity. Then moving to the acceleration will be the derivative of the velocity, meaning we are going to differentiate this for the second time. So 2 will drop down to multiply 15, and that will give us 30. And the exponent 2 will reduce by 1, so it becomes just 1. Minus, this is naturally to the power of 1. 1 times negative 24 is 24. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so the t will go, leaving only the constant. All right. So at what time? We are looking for the time when the acceleration is equal to 0. So this is at a of t equal to 0, meaning we are going to set everything to be equal to 0 here. This implies that 30t minus 24 will be equal to 0. 30t will be equal to 24 as negative 24 crosses over, and t will be equal to 24 divided by 30. 6 can divide 24 exactly 4 times, so this is 4, and 6 can divide 30 exactly 5 times. So this is 4 over 5 seconds, because we are looking for the time, right? If you like, you can write it in decimal, which is equal to 0.8 seconds, all the same. Now let us move on to question number 59. Question number 59, we asked to find the velocity after 3 seconds. Already we have our velocity. Let me just copy that. This is our velocity, v of t. So velocity is here. So after 3 seconds, that is v of 3. Wherever we have t, we are going to replace it with 3. This is 15 multiplied by 3 squared minus 24 multiplied by 3. So all we have to do is to simplify, because I know that 3 squared is 9, and 9 multiplied by 15 will give us 135, minus 24 times 3 is 72. And once you subtract, you're going to get 63 exactly. And what is the unit? Meter per second. We are done with question number 59. Let us move on to question number 60. Question number 60, we asked to find the acceleration after 12 seconds. We also have our acceleration here. Let me copy it as well. Look at it. A of t equal to 30t minus 24. So this is the acceleration, but we are looking for the acceleration after 12 seconds. So this is A of 12 equal to 30 multiplied by 12, then minus 24, right? So what is 30 multiplied by 12? That is 360. The minus 24, that will give us 336. What is the unit? Meter per second squared. And this is said to be the solution. And this is the end of WAEC 2024 Mathematics Objective Questions Solutions. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye-bye.